everyone, and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Marketing. Really excited to have Tim Hughes with us this week, social selling guru, author of a fantastic 5-star rated book on Amazon, which I'd thoroughly recommend all of you buy. Here it is, although Tim's just been telling me that I've got the wrong color.
There's a second edition coming out. It's yellow, so it's out.
That's the important
in the UK on the 3rd of November and in the US on the 29th of November.
Good. Okay. Well, pick up a copy. Definitely. The first edition is absolutely fantastic. I'm sure the second edition is going to be even better.
The second edition is absolutely awesome.
Well, you know what? Let's start there, Tim. Let's talk a little bit about the book, because I know how great the book is. I know how well reviewed it is. So you've obviously got a third edition coming up. So before we go into today, we're going to talk about what social selling is. We're going to talk about the benefits of that, how you measure it, some really good tips for our listeners that they can take away. But before we jump into that, tell me a little bit about the new edition and what's included in there, and what brings it up to date.
So when I wrote it, it was back in 2015. It came out in 2016. Social media was fairly rudimentary, and what I did was I took the contents of my head. I was working at a corporate company, and I did some social selling training there across 4,000 people across Europe. And what I did was I took the contents of my head and put it into the book, but it was really only using that one instance of training and coaching. So we've now had 7 years that I've been running DLA Ignite, and we've been getting customers and implementing people. So I've taken that experience and put that into the book. So there's an additional 30% gone into the second edition. What I've also done is gone out to 15 practitioners who are doing social media in some shape or form out there in the marketplace and got them to write for me. So there's a headhunter had written about what you need to do if you're going to get a job and what you want to be headhunted. I've got Daniel Guzman from Mercer to write about what it is to have employee advocacy. And I've got a number of sales leaders that have said this is what we've done around social selling, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've done is I've really expanded it out in terms of, and you know what it's like, Simon, in terms of taking a book. Your book's now in a third edition, but in terms of the second edition, I wanted to bring it really, really up to date. And also get other people to contribute, because I think that it's not just about me, it's also about the collective experiences of everybody out there, and that's what everybody wants to read. It's not just about Tim Hughes, it's about the collective experiences of everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with my book, obviously I won't waffle too much about that. We want to get that good gold dust out of your brain, but I think for me the key to a good book is having a wide range of perspectives. And whilst with my book, the core essence, the backbone of it is from my approach and my thinking, there's a bunch of other voices from other people in there who are fantastic experts in their field and bring another level, another angle that I wouldn't have otherwise thought about. So I think that's great. That's really good. So that sounds fantastic. I definitely we'll mention the book again, don't worry. But I think that sounds like a fantastic update. So social selling, you've done 2 books on it now. What is it?
I think, first of all, I'll say what it isn't, which is sending spam connection requests to people, or basically connecting to people and then pitching. I mean, it's spam. And I know that a lot of people are saying, everyone's saying to their Salesforce, whatever, you need to get on social. But what happens is that they start getting on social and doing what they've done before, which is, in effect, it's cold calling on a social network, and that's not how social works. So they'll get a response because they'll get a sympathy vote, but it's not how you scale and use social at scale. And so in terms of social, social, the best way to describe it is you're going to a networking event. So tomorrow I can pick you up from your house, Simon, and we'll drive to a room. And in that room is going to be full of all your prospects and customers. All you've got to do is go up and talk to them. Now, you won't go up to them and say, hey, buy my product because it's great, and wave a brochure in their face, because that's not how networking events work. What you'll do is you'll go up and have a conversation, and social media is social. And what it requires you to do is actually have conversations with people. And what you'll find is that people are very open to have conversations, and that is the that is the secret that you need to unlock in terms of going out on social. So it's not about posting content, which is again another mistake that everybody makes. What we'll do is we'll empower all of our employees to post content. Like, so what? The point about content is it shows that you're an expert, so people trust you. And the second thing is that you can have a conversation with people.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think your content strategy for me is critical, but you need to be smart about how you do it, not just posting for the sake of posting. And as you say, you're using, we've obviously known each other for a while, but you use the same language that I use, and that social media is ultimately about being social. And I think too many people do think it is a cold selling, just go in and smash people with my message until someone says yes. I keep hitting them over the head with the book until someone takes it off me. That's not the way to do it. And it's about adding value and having two-way conversations, not just shouting. I mean, if you go into a room with a bunch of people and one of them's just standing there shouting at you about how amazing they are, that's the one person you avoid, right? So,
it is,
yeah, exactly. Okay, that's great. Cool. So look, I think there's been a lot of buzz around social selling over a number of years now. How do you think it's changed? I mean, you said the first book came out in 2016.
it did.
Obviously, that's a long time ago in the world of social now. I mean, the 6 years. 6 years before that was 2010. Facebook's only a few years old at that point, right? So it's 6 years is a long time. Obviously, LinkedIn has come on a massive way in that time, and even some of the other channels, they've made their improvements. There's been a lot of conversations recently about them being homogenized, and not all of them trying to be TikTok, but that's maybe a question for another day. But where do you see the big sort of trends in social selling at the moment? What do you think is the thing that people should really be looking at and focusing on?
I mean, there's a lot of talk about things are TikTokizing, and there's a lot of talk about the algorithm, and really, for your average salesperson trying to make their number, it's kind of irrelevant, because LinkedIn is going to be if you're B2B, LinkedIn is going to be the place where you're going to make the most connections and the most build the relationships and have conversations. Now, we talk about having digital conversations and walking digital corridors, and that is about what the salesperson needs to be able to do today, and the marketer needs to be able to do, is to understand that their customers are on social. We know that social media has changed the world. If people watching this, they don't know Simon Kemp, based in Singapore, he produces pretty much the data set for what is social media. It comes out every quarter. We Are Social and Hootsuite pay for it, but Simon is the person. So Simon Kemp on LinkedIn, and we now know that 60% of the world's population are on social, and they're active on social. Active means, from the same data, that people are spending 2.5 hours a day on social media. And we all know that if we want to buy something, if you're sitting there with your life partner, and at the weekend you go, let's go to Iceland on holiday next week. One person will say, well, you look at the flights and I'll look at the Airbnbs. And the first thing you do is reach for a mobile. So we know that people are buying, and it doesn't matter whether you're buying a trip to Iceland or whether you're buying a £1 million accounting system. You are on social and you're looking for people that can help you. You're looking for advice. That board report that you need to write, you're going to find it on social. HubSpot say that the average person spends 2 to 4 minutes on a website. And the reason for that is we know what a website says. It says, buy my product because we're great, which is the same as everybody else. So you go to a website purely to confirm that the organization exists. Where's the HQ? And what we're doing on social is that we're looking for insights. We're looking for people that can help us. And so one of the things that we do is that we help sales teams work and converse on social media. So there's 3 things to do with that. One is to have what we call a biocentric profile. This is a profile that people go, that person looks interesting. So 99% of people on LinkedIn have actually tried to look exactly the same as everybody else. I'm an energetic, overachieving, tenacious salesperson. Everybody says that. you're energetic, you're overachieving, I am as well. So we're all the
Really,
same.
I call myself lethargic and underachieving
Well,
personally.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I can't be bothered, instead of tenacious. I mean, everyone writes the same thing, and of course it's
Yeah,
rubbish.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, and um, and certainly that on the contribution that I've got into the book about what you need to do to get a job. In fact, if you want to get a job, the worst thing you can do now is to just have your CV, because it makes you look like you don't understand digital. So the three things: one is a biocentric profile. It's a profile that people will look and go, you look interesting. So that's not about your company and your products. It's about you. Because what I'm doing when I buy a B2B is I'm buying into you, especially if I'm buying £1 million accounting system. I want to make sure that you're not going to disappear.
Mm.
You and I were talking about a company just before we went live, about a person that basically walked out in the middle of a particular project, and the fact that that impacted on you and me. Now, that's nothing to do with that company. That person was probably going and getting a better job, but you know that it's irritating. So
Mm.
what we're looking for as a buyer is someone that we can trust and someone that we can look after, that's going to look after us. The second thing is we need a digital territory. So this is about connecting to the people that are going, that we want to ultimately sell to. Now, if you think about the average person on LinkedIn, they have 930 connections, and they are ex-colleagues, current colleagues, and recruitment consultants. That's none of the people that you're trying to influence. So one of the things that we need to do is learn how to connect to people. And we know all of us are bored with people connecting to us and saying, usually it's something, hey, I'm your salesperson and I want to sell you something. No, I'm not interested. Delete. So you need to have a way of connecting to people, which is non-salesy. But when you connect to people, don't forget, this is your way of having a conversation. Conversations create sales. Third thing that we need is content, and content is content is not about brochures and brochureware. If we want brochures, we'll go to your website. If marketing are telling you to post brochures on social media, they're wasting your time. This is about you. This is about showing your authority. This is showing that you're the person that understands the business that you're trying to sell to, and their vertical. Just as much as when we've walked into and sit in front of customers, what we do is we say, yeah, I've been selling in media for 20 years. There's nothing I don't know about it. And these are the business issues that generally those are the things that you should better talk about. Now, so one of the clients we work with is a company called Namos. They're a small 100 people Oracle reseller. And their CEO was telling me a story about one of their prospects, saw one of the salespeople and said, you look interesting. Can you help us? And he said, well, yeah, I'll have a go. And there was a conversation, as you would normally expect, between salesperson and prospect about whether that turned into a $2.6 million deal.
Mm.
And we've got people doing transactions like that. They're doing prospecting. Yes, they're doing outbound, but they're getting inbound. And inbound doesn't necessarily need to be change, as in money change. It's, people are seriously looking for people that can help them out there. And just by closing that deal, they're taking business off their competition. They're increasing their market share.
That's great. I mean, look, it's already, Tim. This is an absolute masterclass, right? So I think this is fantastic.
But this is the way that people buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We from a psychology perspective, that we ignore as much as we can the adverts that are sent to us.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the buyer being empowered, the buyer is not just empowered in terms of the phone, but the buyer is bored of people reaching out to them with the same message. Can I have 20 minutes to show you my products? No, you can't. Because I've had another 20 people basically do that.
Yeah.
Except, so we've got examples of where one of our clients, they recently went to an event down in London. The Scottish went down to London. It cost them £18,000. So what's that? It's probably about $22,000, $25,000 to do an event. All 5 people from sales and marketing went to the event. They got 45 business cards.
Right.
45 business cards. Like, so the CEO sat down on the first day that they were all away, quiet, with a cup of tea. If he'd been American, it'd probably been a cup of coffee. And he said, right, I'm going to try all this social selling malarkey and see what happens. So he sat down and he said, while you were away and got 45 business cards, I got 15 meetings in half a day. Just by I have a biocentric profile. I have a profile that looks like I'm interesting. I'm connecting to people, having conversations, just as we're having here, and then turning that into some sort of, well, we do this. How about if we get on a call and have a chat? We've got a client, Cyberhawk, which is a drones company. They're currently doing the second cohort people, and they put their CFO and the CIO. And what they're doing in that case is that the CIO is reaching out to venture capital companies for funding, and is getting conversations. And the CF and the CIO is reaching out to people, other IT CIOs, basically saying, what IT have you got? I'd be really interested in doing a swap in terms of your experiences. So this isn't just about sales. This is about all the way through the organization, using social media to basically act as a way of communicating to get what they want. So Cyberhawk is a great organization to look at. So there's no secrets here. You can go and look at them on LinkedIn. Chris Fleming, who's the CEO. So the CEO, the CIO, the CFO, the CMO, and the COO are all on social. This is what we see a modern business looks like. They all look like people that you could go, hey, Chris, I could have a conversation with you, or I could have a beer with you.
So here's a question for you. But I think all of that is fantastic, right? That's all really, really helpful. And I think there's some great points that really resonate with what I talk to many people around ultimately humans are selfish. They want to know what's going to benefit them. They don't want to hear about why you want to talk to them about something.
Yeah.
They want to hear about what you're going to give them. So I think there's a lot of great stuff in there. One question, just on that last point you said there, is that I have a lot of conversations with you, and I have for years with a number of people who they want their company to raise the profile, and we talk about social media being about people, not being about companies. People need to connect to each other. And we talk about getting the leadership team on social and engaging with people. So that, as you say, CMO, CFO, CEO, etc. That's all great. What about a business where the C-suite are just terrible, technophobes, bad communicators? They're just not. They're really good at their job. They're just not good at looking slick and communicating well, and they just have no interest in it at all. How do you think a business should handle that? Do you think someone in the team should manage their profiles? Do you think they should just shut up and the people who are good at it in the business should do the talking? Or what do you think?
Well, unfortunately, in the world today, that company has a problem.
Yeah.
Which is that the modern job seeker is like the modern buyer. So if I'm the modern buyer, I will be checking you out. So I've just got off a call from a company. They're only they turn over £2 million, so that's what, $3 million. They're looking for the next set of funding. So we're going to help the three owners basically look good on social media. They're going to do the work themselves, but we're going to empower them to do that. Why? Because investors, if you're going to invest in an organization, they're looking for £1 million. So what's that? $1.2 million. If you're going to invest in that organization, you're going to look the leadership team up on social. I mean, you will do. You're not going to write a check and go with someone who's got a terrible profile. So this is the problem that organizations have nowadays, that if you're looking for investment, if you're looking for employees, the modern job seeker is going on social and looking at the management team, and seeing if they're good, because if the management team aren't good on digital, you know that as soon as you join that organization, they're not going to be good on digital, and you're not going to be able to use some of the collaboration tools that you would expect to be able to use. This is so I could go on and on and on and on and on. So if you're 20 years ago, or was it 30 years ago, you needed to learn skills like spreadsheets and PowerPoint, and now kids at school learn that. It's like, duh, of course I know how to use a spreadsheet and the PowerPoint. But when I 20, 30 years ago, I had to learn how to do those. This is now a skill that you have to have. And if you don't have this skill, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose out. And therefore, somebody in that organization has to step up and say, this is about how we empower the CEO, the CFO, and all of those people to get the skills that they need. And if you're in your organization, if your CEO doesn't understand digital, you've got a major problem.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. Yeah.
Because they don't understand the world, the way the world works.
Yeah.
So how can you set a strategy in your business if you don't understand the way the world works?
Yeah.
I know that maybe people might not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And I think some larger institutions are a bit more resistant to it because of the some industries are a little bit further behind. And some of the leaders in some older, more old-fashioned industries are a little bit further behind. And in a large global institution, you shouldn't, but you can to a certain extent get away with it as a leader of a large global institution.
But if you see, okay, so I wrote recently about a large management consultancy company. I'm not going to name them. I need to remember they've got something like 300,000 employees. They have 5 million followers on LinkedIn. Each post they put out on LinkedIn gets 15 likes.
Yeah, okay.
7 of those are from people within the company, so it's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
7 of those people, I don't know who they are, but they're kind of like randoms. One of those is probably the marketing agency that's actually writing it. Now, they have a problem, which is they're not talking to the market they want to. They think they are. Well, and I can guarantee you the CMO, because I've seen the CMO on a video, tells people that they've empowered their staff. They haven't. They have they're talking in an echo chamber. They're not talking to the people that they need to be talking to. So my company, all of the people in my company gets more engagement than IBM. Now, why is that? Well, we're not cleverer than IBM. Far from it. They've got MBAs and doctorates. I don't have any of those. It's because what IBM is saying is buy my product because it's great. And we know that IBM is going to say that. And the other thing that you see organizations doing, you'll go to a page and it'll say 300 likes. And you go through and it's all the people in the company. And again, the people in the company won't have connected. They won't have a digital territory. So that company will purely be talking within an echo chamber. Now, that business will be reporting this, saying that they're killing it on social, and they're not. And what they need to be doing is that they need to be talking to the people that they're trying to influence. And that's the same with all, when we talk about this management consultancy or IBM, whatever, those people need to be empowered to walk digital corridors and have digital conversations. Because the people they're trying to influence may not be on LinkedIn. They may just be posting pictures of their walking their Labradors in Bushy Park on Instagram. They may be on the people they're trying to influence is on TikTok. Now, I'm not saying that you need to post on that. It's just that you need to understand what it means to be social. Not what it means to use LinkedIn, but you need to be able to understand how to go onto Twitter and talk to a CIO in a company that you're trying to sell to, influence.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was just having that conversation with a financial services business this morning who are looking to acquire B2B, and from the work we were doing around audiences, we established that despite the fact they are trying to do B2B selling, the audience they're looking for probably actually isn't on LinkedIn. So it's a very different type of business. So it's interesting to explore that. So look, I think loads of great stuff there. I guess two questions jump to mind off the top of that. First one of those is, how do you measure the success of social selling? Right, we can all measure engagement levels on social media, and we can measure followers and all these lovely vanity metrics. But is that engagement even relevant, as you say, if it's just staff members or whatever? Right, so that's very common. So how do you measure success on social selling?
The only way that we measure it is by revenue.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're posting something on social media, there needs to be a strategy behind it. There needs to be a reason why you're posting it. And so we give an example of one of my team who posted a picture of him and his son on the beach. It was his son's 16th birthday. It was during COVID. His son wanted to be out with his mates, but he's had to be with his boring dad. And it's a picture on the beach. Now, Eric knew why he was posting that. And off the back of that, he got 6 C-level meetings, 2 proposals, and 1 order. Now, he knew why he was posting it, and he knew that he was going to get that sort of commercial interaction. Now, a lot of people are posting on social media, and they just post and oh, why? Because I need to be on social media. If you're posting on social media, if you're doing anything on social media, you need to be, as I say, they understand the strategy, and the strategy is for you to get meetings and conversations and proposals, just like anything that you would. Or if you're in HR, it's about getting candidates and getting people to come and work for your organization, you know. Or if you're the CFO, it's about getting the venture capital or whatever it is. When you're going there and doing something, there's a real clear outcome that you want. And from a sales perspective, it's ultimately to get revenue.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, everything I talk about in what I write is about being true to the goal that you're looking for, and not to get lost in the metrics in between. If you're trying to make sales, focus on sales, right? If you're trying to grow your follower base because you're an influencer, then great. Okay, it is about that, but it's not about that for everybody. And in fact, largely it is about building your brand or building your sales, or both for most organizations.
And the reason why I wrote Social Selling was, it's not a LinkedIn training book. It's not a book about my journey. It's not about how to put flowers on your profile or whatever. This is a book that's for a workbook for salespeople or other people within the organization to generate revenue through social.
Yeah,
absolutely. And one of the pieces of feedback that I keep getting, and I'm really pleased about, because this is why I wrote it. You know, I'm a salesperson. I've been a salesperson for 25 years. What I wanted to see out there was a book that actually said, if you do this, you'll win this piece of business. And what I've tried to do in the book is actually show and set out to people a process, because I believe that sales is a process. That if you do this, you will win business. And that, I believe, is that there is no other book on the marketplace, especially around social selling, out there at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is. I think it's, and certainly none as successful and I think succinct as yours. And I think that's 100% right. In that, I mean, salesmen are all ultimately the same, right? I mean, they want to make sales, right? I've been a salesperson. I've managed sales teams. I've been in that role in my time. And, you know, ultimately, what do we want? We want to sell more stuff, right? Whatever stuff, yeah. Right? And if you can help me, if you can give me a process or a platform or something that helps me do that, I will love you forever, right? And that is ultimately what your book does. And it does it very clearly and very succinctly.
Thank you.
There's no fluff. There's no messing around. There's no theorizing.
It's written like I speak. So yeah. If it's pretty much how I speak. So if you think I'm being too direct, the book's not for you. if you want to go out and earn a shed load of money by using social, then read the book.
Yeah, I agree completely. Brilliant. Look, Tim, I think that's been fantastic. I think there's a lot I've got out of this, as I always do every time we talk. And just as a reminder to everyone, Social Selling, you can get it on Amazon, and I'm sure lots of other places. I'm holding the white one on for those of you that are watching, not listening. It's going to be yellow in a few months.
The second edition is yellow, and it's out. The pre-sale starts on the 1st of September 2022. 3rd of November it's in the UK and the rest of the world. 29th of November it's in North America.
Perfect. That sounds great. So as with all good sales, it is called what it does. Social selling, you can't miss it. So very good value for money. Excellent book. Thanks, Tim. Is there anything else you wanted to point anyone to?
No. Thank you. Simon, I really appreciate you asking me on and having a chat. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of your book.
Thank you.
Or your books. So I really appreciate it, and thank you for asking me on and getting me to talk about things.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure as always, Tom. And so everyone, just don't forget to subscribe and all of that good stuff. You know what to do. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot, Tim. See you.
Thanks, Simon.